This week and more on the way, the burn ban in Douglas County is now lifted. It was put in place 1 week ago for a long stretch of dry and windy weather that escalated the fire danger. And we want to first alert you to bad news. Nebraska lawmakers heard first thing this morning on the floor of the legislature.
The big hole in the budget shortfall just got bigger. Brian Mastery joins us to explain what happened.
Aaron, John, the feds shared the news with Nebraska lawmakers in January, but for some reason the paperwork was overlooked at the Capitol and only discovered yesterday by a staffer in the fiscal office. Now, last year lawmakers knew the federal government was going to pay a lower percentage for Medicaid, but that percentage is dropping even more, meaning Nebraska lawmakers now need to carve another $90 million out of the budget to cover Medicaid. Look at it this way. On Monday, the state's budget had a hole of $198 million. Today, that hole is now a crater. The new calculation, minus $289 million.
So this means it's going to be a tougher year than we thought on balancing the budget. So the shortfall is $289 million, and I'm asking for your help.
Back in November, lawmakers were staring at a $490 million budget shortfall, but have been chipping away with preliminary cuts and a better forecast of money coming in. A good chunk of that progress, though, has been wiped out with this Medicaid expense. Now, unlike the federal government, Nebraska is required to balance its budget. I'm Brian Mastery, First Alert 6.